In the name of Lord, ever benevolent and ever welcome everyone. Hope all is well at your end. Today's OB's lecture, week number 5, is about perception and individual behavior, types of decision making, and biases in decision making. First of all, we will talk about what is perception and why is perception important. Perception is a process by which individuals organize and interpret their sensory impressions in order to give meaning to their environment. It's a process by which individuals organize and interpret their sensory impressions in order to give meaning to their environment. Perception is the way perception is the way people organize the massive amount of information they receive into patterns that they give meaning to it. People will use their perceptions of reality, not reality itself, to decide how to behave. People's behavior is, of course, based on their perception of what reality is, not on reality itself. It means it's a kind of idea people will decide to behave. We perceive something. The world as it is perceived is the world that is behaviorally important to someone. For example, we take an example. If all employees in a firm may view it as a great place to work, it's a favorable working condition, it is interesting job assignment, it has good pays, it is having good and excellent benefits, their management is understanding and responsible. But will all we accept it? No, most of us will say it's very unusual to find such an agreement or such a job or such a working place. So perception is a kind of idea that we depend on that, and on the basis of that we behave to something. So why is perception important in OB, in organization behavior? Simply, we say that people's behavior is based on their perception of what reality is, not on reality itself. The world they perceive is the world that is behaviorally important to them. Uh, what are the factors that influence perception? There are many factors that influence people's perception. The factors can be in the perceiver, such as attitudes and their experience. The factor can be in the situation, such as social setting and time, or the influence or the factor can be the target, such as sounds, size, or the background. It means there are three main factors that influence the perception of a person. They can be perceiver, they can be the situation, and they can be the target. So we say uh, in simple words that there are three factors that influence the perception of people, and there are three, as discussed. That's perceiver, the situation, and the target. We come to the next is attribution theory. What attribution theory is, it tries to explain the ways in which we judge people different. We judge people differently when depending on the meaning we attribute to a given behavior. Attribution theory helps us to understand our perception about others. Research says that our perception about others are based upon the assumptions we make about them. They say that our perceptions about others is basically based on the assumptions we make about them. Attribution theory, زمونږ هغه perceptions د نورو په باره کې چې موږ یې ازیوم کوو، موږ فرض کوو د هغوی باره کې چې دی به داسې وي. ایتون میباشه یک کس ما در ذهن ما یک کسی ایتون میباشه، یک کسی خوب میباشه، یک کسی بد میباشه، یک کسی بسیار لایق میباشه. It's our perception. So attribution theory is the same. It is giving the attribute that we observe, and these attributes can be observed internally or externally. Internally, behavior is believed to be under the personal control of the individual, while external attributions or attributes can be forced into the behavior by outside events or causes. So the attribution theory said that when we observe behavior, we try to determine if it is internally or externally driven. If it is internally driven, it means that it is under the control of a person, whereas if it is external, then it is not in the control of individual or a person. Determinants of attribution. What are the determinants of attribution theories? There are three factors or determinants that help us to know whether behavior is internally or externally controlled. They are distinctiveness, consensus, and consistency. Distinctiveness shows different behaviors in different situations. It means when an individual displays different behaviors in different situations, it means the uniqueness of the act. While consensus look at the response and compares it to others in the same situation to see if it is consistent with the behaviors of others. Consistency means it looks to see if the response is the same over time. Consensus does everyone who faces a similar situation respond in the same way as the individual did before. Consistency means consistency looks if the same response is given in if it happens over time. Consistency, does the person respond the same way over time? If this action is repeated, will these responses be given, or will the responses we receive will be the same? Simply, we say that distinctiveness refers to whether an individual displays different behaviors in different situations. Is the employee who arrives late today, if we give the example, is the employee who arrives late today also the one co-worker says regularly to them that he is always coming late? Or if it is, we are likely to give it an external attribution. If it is not unusual, we will say we will probably judge the behavior to the internal. If everyone who faces a similar situation responds in the same way, we can say the behavior shows consensus. The behavior of our tardy employee who meets the criteria, if all employees who took the same route to work were also late. In the previous example, we say if the employee is late always, and we know that he is late as always, so that is distinctiveness. While if all the employees who are coming on this route and they come late to the office, so it is consensus. Finally, the third attribution theory's determinant is an observer looks for consistency in a person's actions. Does the person responds the same way over time? Coming in 10 minutes late for work is not perceived in the same way for an employee for whom it is unusual case. She hasn't or he hasn't been late for several months, so it's not a consistency in him or in her. These were the examples of distinctiveness. Now we come to the link between uh, perceptions and individual decision making. Uh, there is, of course, uh, a link between individual decision making and the perception. Uh, what is a problem itself? A problem is a perceived discrepancy between the current state of affairs and the desired state. Problem si shi thoi کوم desired state چې دی او مونږ چې کوم stage کې یو د دغه دواړو منځ کې چې کوم مشکل راځي کوم state راځي حالت راځي هغه discrepancy راځي دغه ته مونږ problem ویلی شو. Decision بیا څه ته وایي choices made from among alternatives developed from data perceived as relevant. Decision بیا وایي the choices ترمنځ یو شی انتخاب ته ویلی شي. کله چې perceptions د decision maker راشي نو بیا مونږ چې دی outcome ترلاسه کوو. اوس راځو decision making ته. decision making څه شي ته ویلی شي او د types څه شی دي. So decision making دا هم یو پروسه ده چې مونږ وایو د alternatives یا د متبادلو شیانو ترمنځ انتخاب ته چې دی decision ویلی شي. په اداره کې د ټولو نه مهم شی هغه decision making دی. کله چې یو کس یا یو مانیجر هغه اداره چلوي نو هغه باید decision making وکړي، هغه پالیسي جوړ کړي، بیا په هماغې باندې decision وکړي. یو problem مخې ته راشي نو هغه سره هم decision making کوي. So we say one of the most important functions of a manager is to take decisions in organization. Such success or failure is of course depending on the level of the organization that the manager takes. د یو ادارې success یا کامیابی یا د هغوی ناکامي چې ده is depending on directly on the decision making he does. What is a decision? A decision is a course of action which is consciously chosen from among a set of alternatives to achieve a desired result, of course. It means that decisions comes in picture when various alternatives are present. Decision هغه وخت کیږي کله چې دی مونږ سره choices وي، مونږ سره alternatives وي. نو مونږ ویلی شو چې decisions وي choices made from among two or more alternatives. So what is a problem? A problem is of course a discrepancy between the current state of affairs and some desired state. If we are to improve how we make decisions in organization, we need to understand the decision making errors that people commit. In addition to the perception errors, we also have to take care of the decisions we make. We have to make rational decisions. What are the types of decision making? There are 5 different types of decision making. There are more types of decision making, but here we will be discussing about tactical and strategic decisions, programmed and non-programmed decisions, basic and routine decisions, organizational and personal decisions, and policy and operating decisions. What is a tactical decision? A tactical decisions a manager makes over and over again. It's a kind of routine actions, but adhering to certain established rules, policies, and procedures. On the basis of the policies and rules and procedures, these uh, decisions are made. They are repetitive in nature. They repeat and repeat in the organization because already the establishing rules and the policies are made. So tactical decisions are repetitive in nature. They relate to general functioning. The authority for taking tactical decision is usually delegated to lower levels in the organization. It is delegated to the lower level organizations personnels, while strategic decisions are relatively more difficult. They are strategic on the strategy level. They influence the entire business future, and decisions to objective of the business, capital expenditure, plant layout, productions are types of the strategic decisions. The second type is program and non-programmed. What are programmed? Programmed decisions are basically of routine type, which systematically procedures. They are systematically procedures which devise so that the problem may not be treated as a unique case each time it crops up. That means that if we have already set up procedures for them, if this problem happens, this will be the treatment, this will be the solution for that. So it means they are already programmed, while non-programmed decisions are complex and deserve a specific treatment. A specific solution is required. If all professors in a department stop their teaching work, the problem cannot be solved by set procedure, because if in a department the teachers leave, so what in the all these professors or all the teachers leave, so there is no programmed procedure for that. So what will be the solution for that? What is the treatment for that? It becomes a problem which requires a thorough study of the causes of why the teachers leave, and after that the problem will be solved. The third type of decisions are basic and routine decisions. Basic decisions are those decisions which require a good deal of deliberation or of crucial importance. These decisions require formulation of new norms through deliberate, thought-provoking process. The examples of basic decisions are plant location, where this plant or this machinery shall be put or fixed. Product diversification, what more product diversification should be made, and what decisions should be made while selecting channel of distribution. It means they are the basic decisions and they need new norms, while routine decisions are repetitive in nature and they require little consideration because they happen every day. It might be seen basic decisions generally related to strategic aspects, while routine decisions are related to tactical aspects of an organization. Basic decisions are related to strategic aspects, while routine decisions are related to tactical aspects of organization. Decisions, we come to individuals' decision making. Decisions to take to watch TV, study, retire early are examples of personal decisions, while organizational decisions are those decisions which an executive, which a manager takes in his official capacity and which can be delegated to others. Personal decisions are those which an executive takes in his individual capacity but as a member of organization, while personal decisions pertain to managers as individual. Um, Organizational decisions, of course, affect the organization in an indirect way. For example, if we say a personal decision to purchase a 2D rather than a Froner indirectly helps a firm due to the sale and hurts another because of the lost sale. So personal decisions can be delegated also and have a limited effect on the organization, of course, on other organization. Organization decisions are made by managers in their official or formal capacity. These decisions are aimed at furthering the interest of the organization and can be delegated, while trying to deliver value to the organization. Managers are expected to keep the interests of all stakeholders in mind, such as employees, customers, suppliers, public, etc., and they need to take decisions carefully so that all the stakeholders benefit by what they do, like price the product appropriately and do not resort to unethical practices, do not sell low quality goods, and many others. The fifth type of policy and operating decisions, the type of decision is policy decisions are those which are taken by the top management, by the executives, and which are of fundamental in characters, affecting the entire business. While operating decisions are those which are taken by lower management for the purpose of executing, for carrying out the policy decisions. When policy are made, the operation department then execute and perform the decisions. Operating decisions are most likely the decision maker's own work and behavior, while policy decisions influence work or behavior pattern of the subordinates. Um, and another type of category, Mr. Ernest Dale, who is a German scholar, he classified decisions in business organization as three. He says that decisions are three types: policy decisions, administrative decisions, and executive decisions. He says policy decisions are taken by the top management or administration of an organization. They relate to major issues. The major issues and policies, such as the nature of the financial structure, marketing policies, outline of an organization. So he says that the top level management who take major issues and they make policies for that, such decisions are called policy decisions, while administrative decisions are made by middle management. He categorized them to the top management, to the middle management, and to the lower management. He says that they are less important than policy decisions. According to Ernest, he says the size of the advertising budget is a policy decision. He says the size of the advertising budget, so how the amount of the advertising budget is of course related to a policy, while selection of the media is of course an administrative decision. The third type, he says, executive decisions are those decisions which are made at the point where the work is carried out. He says distinguishing between these three types of decisions, he says policy decisions are set forth goals and general courses of action, while administrative decisions determine the means to be used, the channel to be used, and executive decisions are those made on a day-to-day, on routine work basis decisions. So Ernest defined the three levels of management and decisions: the top level management, policy; the middle management is administrative; and the lower management is the execution. What is a rational decision making? We often think the best decision maker is the rational decision making and makes it consistent, value maximizing choices within the specified constraints. So there are six decision making processes, rational decision making process, and it's called a model, that's called rational decision making model. Uh, the 6 decision steps I did not mention in it, but they are says defining the problem, identifying the decision criteria, allocation of weights to the criteria, developing the alternatives. Fifth is evaluation of the alternatives and selecting the best alternatives. While making a rational decision, a moral says that first of all you have to define the problem, what the problem is. Then you identify the decision criteria, what will be the decision criteria in that. And then you, when the decision criteria is made, so then you weight them, you weight that, okay, if it comes first, second comes this, you give weight, وزن ورکوي کوم یو خدای کوم یو rating ورکوي ورته. And then you develop the alternatives. تاسو یو بل لپاره د بدیل پیدا کوي چې کوم یو د بل لپاره بدیل پیدا کولی شي. And when you develop the alternatives, then you evaluate چې کوم یو alternative په کوم ځای کې ښه دی. And the last one is then you select the best alternative. کوم چې تاسو لپاره ښه alternative و یا تاسو ته ښه برېښي د ښه ښکاره کېده هماغه alternative چې دی هغه تاسو یې select کوئ. So the assumptions that a rational decision making model says, it means that the problem should be clear. We will have known options, clear preferences. We will have the preferences that we make should be constant. There should be given no time or cost of the constraints should be evaluated and maximum payoffs. So a rational decision, as we said, that it describes how individuals should behave in order to maximize some outcome. We have some shortcuts while judging others. We say that some frequently used shortcuts in judging others can be selective perception, can be Hall effect, can be constraint effects, and stereotyping, and some contrast effects also we have. So the first one, we say selective perception. People will always utilize past experience, their attitudes and their interest to interpret information on their own biases, often misperceiving the situation. That is selective perception. It is a perceptual filtering process based on interests, on the backgrounds and attitudes. It may allow observer to draw unwarranted conclusions from an ambiguous situation. Any characteristic that makes a person, an object, or an event stand out will increase the probability that we will perceive. Why? Because it's impossible for us to assimilate everything we see. It's very impossible to assimilate everything we see. We can take in only certain stimuli. This tendency explains why you are more likely to notice cars like your own, or why a boss may reprimand some people and not others who are doing the same thing, because we can't observe everything going on about us. We engage in selective perception. Selective perception, we select them according to our interest, we select according to our background, we select according to our experience and the attitudes. Selective perception allows us to speed read others, but not without the risk of drawing an inaccurate picture, because we see what we want to see. We see what we want to see. We can draw an unwarranted conclusions from ambiguous situations. A halo effect means when we draw a general impressions about an individual on the basis of a single characteristics, such as intelligence, sociability, appearance, and many others. So, hollow effects is that drawing the general impression based on a single characteristics, while contrast effects, a halo effect is operating when intelligence, sociability, or appearance comes in. It's on the basis of the one single characteristics. When we perceive, when we base on such impression, we call it halo effect. uh, for example, we give example. A man was selected a manager, and while he was on the job, we called him a good manager, a, a good leader, a good decision maker. But when he or she leaves the organization, then our perception change, our impression change, and we say that okay, he was not okay. So look, the effect or the perception changed. This is called a halo effect. Contrast effect means that uh, uh, it occurs when we are making judgments about individuals and comparing them to others individuals we have recently encountered. It means it's a comparison point. We judge someone on the basis of the perception of the group to which they belong. Uh, they belong to a group and you compare them. This is called contrast effect. Sorry, it's a judging stereotyping. A contrast effect is our reaction. It is influenced by others we have recently encountered. It means that we make judgments about an individual and compare them to other individuals we have recently encountered or saw. Contrast effect also refers to the evaluation of a person's characteristic that is affected by comparisons with other people recently encountered who ranked higher or lower on the same characteristics. So it means it's a contrasting effect, and we compare the same character with the other person. While stereotyping is when we judge someone on the basis of perception of the group to which he or she belongs to. It means that judging someone on the basis of the perception of the group to which he or she belongs to. Uh, Now we come to what are the biases or the common errors of the decision making. The first uh, type of decision making biases and error is overconfidence biases. There are many biases in uh, while we make decisions. So the overconfidence bias is when an individual believes too much in his own ability to make good decisions. When a person he is overconfident on displaying his decisions, as a manager and employees become more knowledgeable about an issue, and the less likely they are to display overconfidence. Uh, the anchoring bias is when an individual makes decision based on the information received first and not on the new information received. Uh, Anchoring is the initial information he gets and not the new information. It means there is no research and there is no investigation on the information. So he makes decision on the first or on the initial uh, decisions. The next error is, of course, with the confirmation bias or the confirmation error. During the decision making process, the individual uses only facts that support his decision. He confirms and he accepts his own decision, seeking out information that reaffirms our past um, choices and discounting information that contradicts past judgments. Uh, the next um, uh, biases can be availability bias. It means he judges on the information that is ready for him. He doesn't research on the new one. He doesn't do market research. He doesn't do discussion. He doesn't decide and consent the other people on the information that he has on hand. He take decisions. So there might be errors in that. The next is escalation commitment, or the escalation commitment error occurs when there is an increasing commitment to a decision in spite of evidence that it is the wrong decision. Uh, the uh, he is staying with a decision that there is a clear evidence for him, but he takes the wrong one. And hindsight bias, the tendency to believe falsely that we could have accurately predicted the outcome of an event after that outcome is already known. So such uh, decisions are called. There are also some others like risk aversion, uh, when the decision maker has a tendency to prefer a sure thing over a risky outcome. This kind of risk, or this kind of error is called risk aversion uh, biases or errors. So these were all about the decision and perception. Thank you very much. If you've got any questions,